Here's to you, baby. That's right. It is officially summertime, and you got the Sunnyvale Reject back in the house with another video. It's been 12 days since my last video, and I sure have missed talking with you guys. I've heard from some viewers recently, which is amazing. I love what you guys have to say. I love hearing about your collections, what you're reading, what you like, what you hate. Keep it up, please. Keep this train moving, too. In fact, in my 8th video about 4 months ago when I was just getting started, I gave you guys the 24 books that I wanted to read in 2024. I did not forget about that, and it wasn't for nothing. It wasn't just a video to get views. I have read 17 of those books, and I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 left of the list that I gave you guys in the beginning that I wanted to read in 2024. In fact, the remaining books in that list are Erebus, Bad Moonlight, baby. Come on, I can't wait to get to this one. It's going to be pure cheese. The Prom Queen, and I'm definitely going to read that before the new Fear Street movie comes out. The Prom Queen. Whisper of Death. Loved Visitor. Did not like See You Later. Hopefully I'll like this. Clown in a Cornfield. I hear part 2 and 3 really sucks and ruined all the good things that part 1 had going for it. But it looks so good and it feels so good that I've got to give it a chance, and I will. And I'm going to read this clunky MF. Look at that. Thick, chunky book. Feels good though in the hand. The font's a good, nice, consumable size. So I'll get to this. And we're going to cap it off with this beautiful, beautiful gem here. Spook. Spook by Steve Vance. Heard good things about this. This is the first edition, first print. Can't wait to get to it. Now, I said I was going to do a review on See You Later. Pardon me. I got to tell you, I just did not like See You Later. I didn't like April Fools. I didn't like Funhouse. I didn't like The Thrill Club. And See You Later just, it didn't do it for me either. And I heard so many great things about Christopher Pike. But I think the epilogue here is, it's not needed. And if it is needed, then he needed to go back and do some work in the novel. Because it's almost like an explanation of what he couldn't get out and tie together during the course of the novel, and it just felt like the author talking and not the protagonist. You know, they say, you know, you should write what you know. I don't agree with that. You should explore and take risks and use your imagination. But when you're talking about time travel and things like that, you've got to know the jargon associated with it, and you got to be up on what's going on in the times. And I felt like this was just kind of thrown together. The characters were extremely shallow. There was no real attention to detail. It was just so unrealistic that suspending disbelief just through the course of the novel, it just wasn't enough for me. And because of it, I was like, you know what? I'm giving up on YA for a minute, and I'm going to go back to, you know, literary or at least adult horror, you know, the John Sauls, the Kuntz, the Kings, and the things like that. But because it's summertime and I could read more than I normally do, I picked up some other books, and I do that. From time to time, I can have my list, but I walk around my library all the time, and I pull books off the shelf, and I read a few pages, and if it sounds interesting, I keep reading it, and then I go back to things. And if when I go back to a book, if it doesn't, you know, pique my interest then, I give it to Goodwill. I put it in the this has to go bag, you know what I'm saying? But I had some good luck recently. So aside from what you just saw, which I'm going to read for the remainder of the year, off and on, I'll go back to those books and that list. But this is my summer reading book list, and I am very excited about it. I am on page 70 of The Nightmare Room, R.L. Stine, The Howler. I picked it up because, look at it, I was like, I got to get this book off my shelf. It's just a terrible, miserable copy. And I do that sometimes too. Go through the paperbacks that look like they just don't belong, like they fell off a coconut truck on the interstate on 95 and got ran over by a bunch of cars. But in doing so, I really fell in love with this book. I like it. I'm sure I'm going to like the series. And it's about a kid who, he lives up somewhere up north, right? And it's snowing, and his cousin came to visit him a few weeks before they went to Florida to Christmas. The kid was ice skating and fell in the ice and died. And so ever since then, this kid Spencer has been trying to communicate with ghosts so that he could talk to his cousin Ian again and tell him that he's sorry, man, that he didn't mean it. It was an accident and that he tried to save him. And this book is just straight to the point, bare bones, but it keeps the narrative going, and it drives plot, and all of the things that need to be there are there. He's not trying to be literary, so the characters are somewhat one-dimensional, but not entirely flat. You like them. You hate the older brother, Nick. You want to punch his face in. Any of you guys grow up with an older brother? I did. God rest his soul. He's not here now. But he was 5 years older than me, and he beat the shit out of me just about every day. So I could relate to that. And because of it, I kept reading. And I had so much fun with it that I decided to stick in this realm of YA for just a little bit. But there's always a big literary novel I'm reading at the same time. So I am also reading Them by William Johnstone. I'm on page 70 of this book too. Well, page 62. And I do that. If I'm reading a book and I don't like it, I'll pick up another one and I'll just continue reading, and some fall off as I, don't enjoy them enough to continue them, because there's too many good books out there to keep reading something you don't like. By the way, there's a lot of good people out there too. So if you're in a situation that's unhealthy or that you're just not happy with, leave, because there's too many good people out there to stick around somebody that belittles you or makes you feel lesser than, or just straight up unhappy. Remember that. So I'm going to read, finish reading The Nightmare Room. I'm going to read Them, if I can. I think the author kind of took the easy way out when it comes to the antagonist, this glowing mass. I think glowing mass is the easy way out as opposed to describing this character. And I'm not sure how I'm going to feel about that as the story goes on. But right now, the kid is really smart, has a high IQ, and this is the protagonist. And his father's beating him all the time because he wants him to be a man. Meanwhile, this glowing mass is extraterrestrial, comes from another planet, and is trying to understand why humans do what they do. And that's a familiar trope. Aliens always come down with the plan to destroy Earth and conquer us, but they always fall in love with one or two of us, right? That saves humanity. But they all say the same shit, man. We're dumb, ignorant, loud, and all we do is, hurt each other, and that's that, But because I liked Nightmare Room, I decided to read more of those type of books. And I'm going to go to Shivers. This is book 1. I love Shivers. I love holding them in my hand. These covers are beautiful. I've read 11. This would make 12. And for number 12, I went back to book 1. This is The Enchanted Attic, book 1, the one that set it all off. And there's 36 total. I really like these. They read well. They're just exactly what they're supposed to be, and the covers are nice. And I'm going back to Nightmare Room. These are good, fun books. I have all of them except for 3, and I'll try to work on getting those, but they're fun so far. I've only started, The Howler, but I like it a lot. And I love R.L. Stine, so I figured I'd give, this series another chance to. So I'm going to go back to book 1, and that is Don't Forget Me, and I'm going to read this before August the 4th. Come on now. Y'all saw this in another video. This guy's a veteran. Mike Ford. This is Frightville. This is Don't Let the Doll In. I don't know. I think, that's the premise is already bringing back memories of something, the Dollhouse Murders, maybe? I don't know. But the living doll in the dollhouse is not unfamiliar territory. But, again, I like these easily consumable chapters. I like the big font. It's something I've always liked since I was a kid because it makes you feel like you're making progress throughout the book. It's not like, well, here's one. This is decent. This is Clown in the Cornfield. This is decent, It's not too small, not too big, the font, but the chapters just go on and on and on, and you don't see a stopping point in sight, and sometimes it discourages you from reading because you don't want to start if you know you got to read 15 pages to get through the chapter. That's what Goosebumps, Shivers, The Nightmare Room, and book series like that did for reluctant readers. They made it easy. And remember, as a writer, that's what you should do too, because readers don't want to do a whole lot of work. If I dig Frightville, I'll read all 4 of them, and I will do a review on the series. One thing at a time, though, you know what I'm saying? I've heard so many things about Hit and Run. This is Point Horror, R.L. Stine. I think it was Cameron Chaney that said there was a really disturbing scene. Damn it, I hope it's this book. But a really disturbing scene about a dead body in a car. And I've been excited about getting to that point so I can see what the hell he's talking about. But this is R.L. Stine's Hit and Run. Eddie, Scott, Winks, and Cassie, they went out for a drive one night just to get practice so Eddie would be sure and get his license. Then Eddie had a little accident. Italics on little. Now 4 friends share a terrible secret because Eddie hit someone and killed him. Didn't he? We don't know yet. Did he live? Did he die? Is he going to cause shenanigans and go after those people that are responsible for the accident? More than likely, but I've heard good things about that. And I need to read a good point horror book that'll lead me back into the series of books because, like I said, I didn't like Funhouse. I didn't like April Fools. I didn't like the Thrill Club either, and I know that's Fear Street, but I want to get back into that vein of reading YA because it's so fun and you can just burn through them and it reminds you what you like about reading, but I gotta find one that lights that fire again. Come on now. This might be the only summer-themed book that I'm reading for the rest of summer, and I have till, let's just say, August the 3rd. This is The Dead Lifeguard. The Dead Lifeguard. And I've read a bunch of Fear Street books. I think I've probably read 29 or 30 at this point, and I'm going to read all of them. I was talking to a viewer just the other day, and viewer is such a terrible term. You know, I don't mean it like that. But she said that she's got all 51 original covers right now, and holy crap, man, respect to you. I don't have all of the original covers. Some of mine are newer prints, but I love Fear Street and I want to collect them all and I want to read them all because that's what got me interested in reading again. I got so tired of classics like Dickens and Hemingway and Proust and Afonte and Bukowski. I needed this in my life to remind me of what's fun and wholesome about reading, you know. So anyway, this is The Dead Lifeguard. In Too Deep. The lifeguards at North Beach Country Club know they're lucky. While other kids are flipping burgers, they're sunning themselves by day and partying by night. So what if some people say the place is cursed? Hey, it's no big deal, okay? Curses come and go. It's not a big deal. Haunted even. This is the life, right? And then, one by one, the lifeguards start to die horrible deaths. Someone or something evil is stalking them. They all know how to save other people's lives, but who will save theirs? The dead lifeguards. That's kind of interesting because they talk about a curse and being haunted, and you don't think about beaches being haunted. You don't think about scary stuff during the day much at all, which is interesting. You know, it's a unique flipping of the the regular or normal theme. I like that because remember this. Setting can be a character. Remember in The Wizard of Oz, the damn tornadoes? That thing is a character. It's scary as hell. And I gotta tell you, and I may mention this in another video down the road because I have something planned, but to me, The Wizard of Oz was a horror novel. So was Hansel and Gretel. You had aquaphobic, cannibalistic witches who don't give a shit about kids, and that's scary because women give birth and they should care about kids. But you don't just have to worry about them and their evil agenda, but they commune with nature. So for example, in The Wizard of Oz, remember in the original story, she sent wolves to tear them to shreds. But guess who killed them? The Tin Men, right? The woodsman. And then she sent blackbirds to peck their eyes out. But the scarecrow twisted their necks and killed them. And then she sent the black bees, but that didn't work either. But the Wicked Witch of the West was cruel and mean, and the Wizard of Oz was terrifying. Think about all those little people in the beginning, man. No, I don't want to be around all those little people with witches popping up here and there. No, thank you. And to round it out, and to finalize my summer wish list / reading list, because I'm going to try my best to get to them all, is The Guardian by John Saul. John Saul is one of those authors that I don't really read. Oh my God, look at that. Look at that swarthy fella in that beautiful, beautiful Tim Jacobus shaded sweater. Isn't that nice? This is a thick-ass book. It's about 400 pages. And I know that John Saul's books are entertaining. They might be slow burns, but he builds up a lot of trust as a narrator. He makes you care about the characters to where the action, as subtle or as light as it might be, you know, it's so important to the characters that even though it might not be so dramatic in its climax, that you really feel for them and you've bought into the story. And he does that through setting, character development, language, knowledge of the subject. And he's just one of those writers. I've got everything he ever wrote, and I will read them all. But this summer, I'm going to finish The Guardian. And a lot of these books I picked up because I just didn't like what I was reading at the time. And this is one of those books. I'm only like 4 or 5 pages into it, but I read this opening paragraph, and I knew I was going to like the book. Check this out. Can you relate? It was just the kind of day that never failed to depress her. Even when she woke up feeling good. Today, the sense of impending disaster, the vague feeling of panic that had seized her when she first woke up, only worsened as the temperature skyrocketed and the hot, wet air closed around her like a straitjacket. I can sure as hell relate to that being in Florida, but I just got back from Mississippi where it was even hotter than that. And at least here in Florida, we have a beach, right? In Mississippi, where I'm at, in Vicksburg, which is kind of in the center of the state, we're landlocked. We have the river, but we don't have that cool ocean breeze. But because of it, you know, it's a hardtack life in Mississippi. It's conducive for writing and reading. And I just got back from visiting my dad, and I went to Faulkner's house. I went to Willie Dixon, the blues master's house. And I remembered that while I was there, I hated that place. You know, it was old. I'm talking like old world. You have Reconstruction era too, colonial era. You know, you have the plantation era, you have it all. Mississippi's had 5 flags fly over it too. But the place is just dark, and it's a hard way to live, and it's just conducive for writing. Go home or whatever, but check it on your internet, look it up, and you'll find all these crazy award-winning Pulitzer Prize Nobel writers from Mississippi, and the state's small, only has 2 million people. Okay, I'm shutting the hell up. Look, I've got 7 books to read out of my 2024 list, and I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 books to read in my summer reading list, and I'm going to get it all done. And I appreciate you guys so much. Thanks for the support. Thanks for sticking with me. Thanks for being cool as hell. Tell me what you're reading. I'd love to hear it. And as always, stay cool. I'll talk to you soon.